I'll look. So with ESLs, I'll look at the picture, the cover, and we'll talk about it, and I'll try to fit in some of the words that are coming up. So like in this one, I might be able to get hot and sun and fun and maybe sand and maybe jump. So I'll start here and say, okay,
You want us to
let's talk.
specifically, Steve?
Pardon me? Oh, you
You
can't
want
see.
us to see the board or book?
So we'll just start and say, okay, this is going to be at a beach. Let's say beach, beach. And we have palm trees here. Can you say that? Palm trees, right? And we have hills. What's this back here? They don't know how to say that's the sun. Okay. And this is the ocean. Can you say ocean, right? Here's the sun. Here is a rock. Okay. Kind of it. And some people will jump off the rock into the water. It's pretty far. So they'll actually jump. Some are scared and will just grab the tree, like they'll just hold on to the tree or grab it. But others will like run and jump into the water, maybe a 10-foot jump. Usually at the bottom of these, you can't see it here, is sand. Sand, you know what sand is? It's this white stuff. Okay, then I'll go to the picture here. Now say here we have a young girl. Okay, and notice she has sand here. She's playing in the sand. Okay, and then we have a shed. A shed is kind of like what you put tools in. Here, this is a little shed where you have shade. And notice we have a seagull. And we have the ocean. Okay, and we have a pail. Okay, now I want you to point to the seagull and say it, seagull. I want you to point to the ocean and say it, ocean. I want you to point to the girl and say it, girl. I want you to point to the cat, cat. And the dog, dog. How about the shed, the shed? Now she's grabbing this tool. Do you see? Point to grab. There's grab. Okay. And it looks like this dog is jumping. Looks like he's ready to leave his feet and jump. Here is our shed that's giving some coolness for the cat. But cats aren't crazy about coolness, so he's going to go out in the hot sun and the dog's going to go in there. It looks like they're deciding who's going on, but the shed is covering. Okay. All right. Now you tell me, what's that? Ocean. Good. Pail, grab, girl, dog, cat, shed, seagull. Okay. The dog is doing what? Jump. Okay, good. All right. So initially, it's kind of like the 4-step method. Initially, I will label it. Then I will say it. They'll find it. I'll give a definition, like which one is a little animal with a paw. And then lastly, I'll point to it. Okay, then we go to the words. And when they start sounding out the words, it'll make sense to what oral language I did before. If not, we'll go to the picture. Here, this cat is hissing at the dog. We didn't cover his. And we'll do less, but more meaningful work. So we'll do kind of the 4-step method where I'll say the word, make sure they've got it. Then I'll first check what they know. Then what they don't know, I'll say. Then they'll say it with me, and then I'll say it and they'll find it. And then I'll give a little definition. And then I'll randomly point, and then we'll go to the words. And if they have trouble with any of the words here, I'll do the 4-step method with that. And then we'll go read. And when we're done reading, we may actually even draw a little picture of it. Now, there's another series called Moondog, which has a picture per page and 1 sentence or 2 sentences per page. So if you have a child with very little things, you can find Moondog on the internet, and there's several other series that go with it. Now, Moondog pretty much correlates with my series. And if you wanted to use that, Steve has the correlation. I correlate it to mine. But that has a picture with a sentence or 2, and then a picture with a sentence. So there's more picture, and you can do a little more vocab. But my book, you pretty much, my books at this level are one concept books. So I can get pretty much most of the vocab in the picture. Okay. All right, let's show another one. So if we did, let's say we're doing sick. You can't see this, I don't think. So I look at some of the, you got to look at the words ahead of time for the cover. There's not a lot that the cover is going to get except for sick, red, sad, etc. So we could start and say, okay, tell me about this picture. And if the kid can't say much, then that tells me. But if they said, well, he's sick, he has a red face, looks like he's sad, he's lying in bed, he has a temperature, then I know I don't have to do as much oral work for this book. But I then can go to the picture and work in all the key words, such as chess, mess. Well, I'll work those in the picture orally. And then once I work them in, I'll say it and they'll find it and read it. They'll say it. Then I'll give a little definition. And then I'll randomly point to make sure they've got the language. And then we'll go. No, this is slow go, but it solves the problem that happens a lot with phonics programs where the child can sound everything, but he doesn't have a clue what he's reading. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So suddenly I've lost all you guys. Let's see, make meta. Okay. So any other questions? No? Are we still there?
We're still here.
Okay. So any other questions? Otherwise, I think we covered a lot for today.
Thank
Okay.
you, Steve. It's great to be back.
Oh,
Steve, I do have one question.
sure.
For non-English language dyslexia, pictographic language like Korean, Chinese, Japanese, what does dyslexia look like for them?
It's often a right hemisphere issue rather than a left hemisphere. So it's not, dyslexia isn't the same in all cultures, but they'll have trouble with the pictographs. And they'll have trouble and also in the language component because like for instance, if you learn sign and that's all you know, you would think that would be at top of the brain at the motor strip, but it actually, it takes place in the language part of our brain. So, but there's there's some right hemisphere issues that occur with that in other countries. So dyslexia doesn't just affect like in our country where it's more Broca's area and Wernicke's. It's other areas are affected.
Have there been research? Like, are there like research reports on that in English?
Dr. Shaywitz in her 2020 book talks a bit about it. And you might just look at that and then I'm sure there's other research on it, but she does describe that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Sure. All right, anyone else? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, Steve.